Florida Panthers GM Bill Zito, well, there are rumors swirling that one of his veteran players could fall victim as a cap casualty and be traded so that there could be extra room in their salary cap, just a little bit, so they could sign their big three free agents and then some. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. As always, I am your host, Greg Andrews, and hit that subscribe button down below so you guys can stay up to date with all the news and information and rumors that are swirling around there about your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. Well, I'm just going to go right into this thing and throw you guys this. Well, first of all, Pierre LeBrun has said that there's a 50-50 coin flip on whether Brad Marchand stays in Florida. Not so much big breaking news, and I know some of you, when I've said, oh, Brad Marchand's giving subtle hints, even though his son was wearing a t-shirt that says bring all three back, that is a subtle hint, guys. It's not like he's waving a giant banner stating, bring them all back, I'm coming back, like Bennett has said. So there's subtle hints, subtle hints, subtle hints. I do think that he will get the job done. Again, guys, remember, all of the things that I've been sharing with you in my last few videos have been hypothetical. They are rumors for the most part until they become actual breaking news, and that's why I have these reports coming out with these screenshots that show you who is actually breaking out these rumors or the news. So, again, Brad Marchand, 50-50, but that's not the big thing that's happening right now. This is. Panthers' Evan Rodrigues is one to watch as a potential cap casualty. That's coming from Sportsnet. That is big news. He is $3 million on the cap hit for the next 2 years. So if they end up trading Evan Rodrigues, they might trade him just so they can clear up some of the cap room there and make it, instead of $19 million that the Cats have to sign their big three free agents, they could actually end up having $22 million. But what do the Cats get in return? Do they try to get draft capital? Do they try to get younger players that they could put into the lower system so they can work and they can get those guys to improve their play and then work them up into the roster? We'll see. But to me, what's interesting is that freeing up this cap space could do a lot. And the biggest domino that might fall could be Aaron Ekblad, because as things are starting to turn out, there are a lot of teams that are lining up to put in attractive offers to try to pull him away from the Florida Panthers. And what is being said is he could get somewhere between about 7 to 8, maybe even $9 million per year for some of these offers. And that could be very attractive for him just to get out of South Florida, go somewhere new where he could possibly make a big impact. But again, I say, why would you want to leave here? That's what everybody's saying. I've said in my last videos, why would you want to leave, guys? Why not stay, be a part of this dynasty, and keep everything rolling? But what is really surprising here is that this team, I think, needs to understand this is the guy that they could potentially be getting rid of. He has been a great goal scorer when we needed it. Last year in the finals, he had a phenomenal postseason of 4 goals, 3 assists in the Stanley Cup Finals. He is one of the reasons why we won those first 3 games. He had 3 goals in those first 3 games. Obviously, game number 3, he didn't score any, but still, he also had 3 assists in the finals last year. He was a big contributor. This year, a little bit more quiet, but he only had 1 goal, 3 assists in the finals, but still, he was a contributor. The problems that have been arising with Evan Rodrigues is the fact that he is getting older at 31 years old. That's not that old, but he's having some issues on defense. That's dropped off a little bit. His play has dropped off as well. But I want to share with you guys a little bit more about how his stats look. So this is the cap that I was telling you about, $3 million this year, next season and the season after. So if they free that up, they will have $22 million in cap room this year. And then yet next year it'll be even bigger because they actually are letting that cap space balloon up. I think it was 104 million that it's going to be next year instead of it was 90 something. So that's a big, big plus for the Florida Panthers. But as we're talking about Evan Rodrigues, this is the biggest thing. He's turning 32, or he is 32, excuse me, already. And his performance took a little bit of a dive, not tremendously. He works so hard on the ice. You could see him. He battles for pucks. He tries to get out on the forecheck to keep the puck in their offensive zone. He'll throw his body around. I know he got creamed a couple of times in the playoffs, especially when he got boarded and nothing got called except for embellishment on him, which was ridiculous. But he has been a great player for the Panthers. What a great pickup as a free agent in 2023. 4 years, $12 million is all they had to pay to get him on this team. But now, with these big 3 free agents that they need to try to re-sign, he is going to become a casualty of the business side of things. He is an integral part, and I'll tell you the reason why I do think that he is expendable and they can trade him, because they do have an up-and-comer who literally has the same stat lines, and he's only 22 years old. But I'm digressing. So I still want to show you guys a little bit more. So the 2 years he's been a Florida Panther, regular season, he's had pretty decent numbers. Last year was better, 39 points. This year he has 32 points. Kind of close in terms of time on ice, things like that. But what we really want to look at right here is playoff success. Last year he had some big goals. He also played 24 games instead of 21. Same points, scored more goals last year, not as contributing in terms of that goals factor. But you already saw in the quick highlight that I showed you, he got it done when he needed to. I like Evan Rodrigues a lot, but we did see a little bit of a dip at times in his defense. He was great on the forecheck, but I think when they're in that defensive third, he is a little bit of a liability. And then again, with his age, turning 32 in July, it's going to be tough to say, hey, we should keep paying you $3 million when the person that could potentially take his spot, I'm not saying he's going to get up into those top lines, but there is the potential for greatness for the guy who could come up and who got his first year playing with the Panthers and played 72 games. I'll get into that in a second. I think you all know who I'm talking about. I'll get into it in just a moment. But this is going to create that necessary cap space that they need to ensure the fact that, yes, we will have enough to sign our guys. But remember, they still have to sign a backup goalie. They're going to have to look at Nosek. They're going to have to look at Schmidt. You know, there's still other guys that they're going to need to pay to fill those holes that might still be there. There might still be some gaps in this roster if 1 or 2 of those guys leave. Obviously, the focus is on Bennett first, then I believe Marchand, and then after that, I think it's Ekblad. I think Ekblad's really going to test the free agent market and see how much money he can get, because I think he's going to look for a big-time payday, which I think teams are going to say, we're not going to give you because of some of the risk that is involved with a long-term contract, which is what he's trying to go for. So, I think having him leave and then having younger players come up and they can sign smaller contracts, and the man I'm talking about is Mackie Samoskevich. We're going to get into his numbers in just a minute, but this was the 2023-2024 postseason, and Evan Rodrigues' contributions, were great. Game 1, he had a goal. Game 2, he had 2 goals. Assists in game number 3. Kind of didn't really do much in game number 4, but game number 5 showed up, a goal and assist. Game 6 didn't do much, but had an assist in game number 7. Again, he really showed up last year. This year was a little bit more in the shadows. Like I said, a lot of the guys that played really well last year still made an impact. Those intangibles that they play with, that this team plays as a team. It's not about, oh, I've got to score 50 goals. Obviously, that's not realistic, but you guys know what I mean. They don't have to score 1 million goals in the postseason to be effective. Be a team player, get out there, put the body on a body, get on the forecheck and be aggressive with it. You know, get there on the back check when it's, you know, when you need to, pass the puck, be selfless. And that's exactly what Evan Rodrigues did. And they got him for a great price at a perfect time in his career, which I think was one of the better moments in terms of helping his team. His numbers might not have been as big and grandiose as previously in his career, but there was more impactful things that he did for this team to win 2 Stanley Cups in a row and make it these big wins. He was a part of big wins. So let's take a look at Mackie Samoskevich, guys. But first, before we get into that, I want to show you something a little bit about Mackie Samoskevich. Take a look at his highlights. Another great player, only 22 years old, guys. They signed him for 3 years, $2,775,000, average AAV of $925,000. Contract no longer exists. There was no definitive AAV for him as of today, but from what I have been gathering through my research, is a 2-year bridge deal that could be somewhere between 1.5 million to 1.75 million range, somewhere around there. The reason why I wanted to show you guys this really quickly is because of these two graphics. Here is Evan Rodrigues this past year. He played all 82 games. He's 5'11", 9.3 shooting percentage, CF percentage is 62.4, great. His plus minus 7.7 was expected. 15-7 on the year, 161 shots, -4 for his plus minus, time on ice at just over 15 minutes. Solid numbers, solid numbers. I really, like I said, I like Evan Rodrigues a lot, but this is what I want you to look at. The numbers are almost identical for these two players, except for the fact that Mackie Samoskevich is 9 years younger. He's an up-and-comer. He's the future of this franchise. Am I going to say he's going to be the next Aleksander Barkov, or is he going to be the next Sam Reinhart? Is he going to be the next Matthew Tkachuk? Not necessarily. Different type of player. He's a little smaller, but look at the numbers he put up in 72 games, excuse me. I'm going to go back. So he had 15-16 for Samoskevich, 15-17 for Evan Rodrigues, who played 10 more games. Shots, 129 for Samoskevich, 161 for Rodrigues. Giveaways and takeaways. Obviously more giveaways for Rodrigues. Takeaways, he had more as well. Plus minus were identical. Time on ice, a little bit less for Samoskevich. But plus minus for Samoskevich is at 15.7 on the year. That was the expected. He had a great season this year. What I really like about Samoskevich, young, he's being molded into this system. I think he's going to play a lot next year. A lot less money that is going against the cap hit when you re-sign him for a couple of years, see how things go, see how he develops with this core group of players that are around him. I think he's just going to get better. This past season, was a very good season for him. He has earned the contract he's going to get. Yes, it's not going to be this magnificent thing, but I think that Evan Rodrigues needs to be expendable, unfortunately, because Mackie Samoskevich can come up. I know earlier in the playoffs, it didn't look very good. That's why he got put on the bench, and so did Nico Sturm. They did not look very good. It was Mackie Samoschevich's very first playoff appearance. So we're going to go back to this really quick. So again, these are the regular season numbers. I'm going to show you his postseason numbers really quickly. Not a whole lot there because he only played 4 games. But he got that little tiny taste of what it is like to play in the playoffs. And I think everybody, including Coach Paul Maurice, saw that, hey, there is a hell of a lot of potential for this kid to be very good, if not great. But he's going to take some time to develop. I think a 2-year deal, like they said, bridge between $1,500,000 to $1.75 million, maybe up to $2 million and do $1 million a year, that could work. I think it could work. But I do like the move when we're thinking about, okay, is Bill Zito making the right move by getting rid of a veteran in Evan Rodrigues, who's going to be 32 years old? He didn't have the most monumental postseason, even though he did have a significant amount of assists, only 2 goals. But I do think that his aggressiveness, which he is, I mean, you see him flying around all over the place, it will be missed by the Florida Panthers. Again, this is a rumor as of right now. Unfortunately, he is one of those pieces that will be expendable because that extra $3 million they can get rid of does open the door for the Panthers to do a lot more with signing their unrestricted free agents, the big ones and even some of the smaller ones. They can do some movement and work things around. And also, we need to find out exactly how they're going to structure some of these contracts. Are they going to front load them or are they going to back load them so that way we could see what's going to actually happen with the cap hit from some of these players? It'll be interesting to see what kind of magic Bill Zito will do with all of those specific things that go into these contracts. So we're still waiting. The Panthers are still enjoying and celebrating their second Stanley Cup, their back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. So time will tell. July 1st is when free agency starts. I do believe at least 2 of our big free agents will be off the board before that. We only have a few days left until free agency begins, but we will see. I bet contract negotiations are ongoing. And as soon as I hear something again, guys, I will throw a new video out to you guys with whatever breaking news is out there, even if I hear it and it takes me an extra 30 minutes to get this done. So be it. I will break it out. We will go over it. But yeah, a little bit of sad news, but kind of exciting because, like I said, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, for Bill Zito to sign his guys. But don't forget, we still have to sign a backup goaltender that will go behind Bob. And we have to look at some of these other unrestricted free agents that are on, that third defensive pairing as well as the fourth line. We've got to see how we can get these guys back here and if the Panthers will be able to do it with the cap room that they have. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a squeeze, but I think Bill Zito will get the job done and sign all three of our big guys and somehow be able to bring back at least Schmidt. I do like Nosek, and I know some of you guys said he had some big face-off wins against one of the best face-off men in the world. But some of the eggs, you gotta crack some of these eggs in order to move forward. This is a business to build this team. Look what Bill Zito has done in the last 4 years. Well, 5 years if you want to count it since he got here in 2020. He's made magic. He's made big moves. He's built rosters from guys who have chips on their shoulder. I've already said this before, something to prove, need to rework their game. This team brings out the best in the players that come here. So I've got faith in Bill Zito no matter what happens this offseason, guys. We will see what happens, but he's letting these guys enjoy the win, the championship, back-to-back titles. So yeah, as soon as I have more breaking news for you guys, I will get it to you. But again, just remember, this is all hypotheticals. These are going off of rumors that I'm reading about. And I just want to kind of throw out kind of a 2 cents thing there from my perspective and my analysis of what I believe the Panthers are looking to try to accomplish here. But guys, thank you all for watching this episode of Panthers Digest. I am your host, Greg Andrews. Again, hit that subscribe button down below. I see there are thousands of you that are coming back to watch my videos, and thank you so much for doing that. Thank you all for your support. But you're not hitting that subscribe button, guys. It takes a quarter of a second. Tap it, click it, whatever it is. Hit that subscribe button. I really, really appreciate all of your support, guys. And I want to get to my goal of 2,000 subscribers. Obviously, we're going to get above that. That's where where I want it to be. I want this to be an exponential curve going in the positive direction. So, guys, hit that subscribe button. Thank you again for all of your support. I'll have another video for you guys coming soon. And go Panthers.